So after making the Super Bowl in the 2023 season, the 49ers endured a very painful Super Bowl hangover in 2024 as they got decimated by injuries and went 6-11. Now, despite the fact that they are returning mostly healthy this upcoming year, a lot of people are doubting San Francisco and think that they're finished and that they're going to miss the playoffs. But that's one hunk of bullshit, and I'm here to tell you right now that as long as they're mostly healthy, the 49ers will easily bounce back and easily make the playoffs this upcoming season, which is what I'm going to go over in today's video. Now, before we do get started, of course, go ahead and hit the like button if you guys end up enjoying the video, since it really helps out the channel, and of course, subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy content like the one you're watching right now. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get things started. So as I stated in the intro, the 49ers were totally ravaged by injuries in 2024. Christian McCaffrey missed 13 games, Brandon Ayuk suffered a torn ACL in week 7, Ricky Pershaw missed 6 games and he was coming back from a gunshot wound, Nick Bosa missed 3 games, Charvarius Ward, who's not on the team anymore but he was a very big part of the squad, he missed 5 games, and Trent Williams, he missed 7 games. Now, I know injuries happen every single year, but when you're missing a lot of your best players, it's hard to play your best football and really reach your ceiling as a team, and it's very apparent to anybody with half a brain that those injuries really took a toll on the 49ers and severely affected them. Now, Brandon Ayuk, I know he won't return until like mid-season as he does recover from that ACL tear. Charvarius Ward, he's now on the Colts and no longer on the 49ers, as I said before. But all those other guys I mentioned, they're going to return fully healthy, in 2025. And that's going to be a very big boost for this team. And crazy enough, and pretty much the reason why I'm making this video, I think a lot of people are forgetting just how good San Francisco is on both sides of the ball when they're healthy. On offense, the 49ers are great at the skill positions. Christian McCaffrey, he's an elite running back when he's on the field. George Kittle is arguably the best tight end in the NFL. They got a pretty solid receiving core. Juwan Jennings, he was really good last season, and I know he's having some contract disputes with San Francisco right now, but nonetheless, he is a good player. Brandon Ayuk, he might have had a down season in 2024 before he got hurt, but when healthy, he's typically one of the best receivers in the league. I mean, let's not forget, in 2023, he was extremely good, and he was in top 10, and he was in top 10 talks, and some people even thought he was top 5 in the NFL. And Ricky Pershaw, I know his rookie season wasn't exactly amazing, but he did show some flashes, and again, he was coming back from a gunshot wound, and I liked him a lot coming out of Florida, and I do think that he can be a pretty good player, if given time, and I do think that next year, as long as he doesn't get into hopefully no incident like the gunshot wound he suffered, hopefully nothing like that happens again. As long as he can stay mostly healthy though, I think Ricky Pershaw can have a very good 2025 campaign. The 49ers offensive line last year was okay, as they did rank 14th in pass block win rate, but they were also 24th in pass block and run block win rate. But again, Trent Williams, he missed several games, which definitely affected those ranks. And as we know, he's still one of the best tackles in the league, despite the fact that he's really old. Colton McKivitz, he's their other starting tackle. He's a decent player. Dominic Puni, he had a really good rookie season, and he should develop into being a very good guard. Ben Barch, he's projected to be their other starting guard, and he's a fine player. And Jake Brendel, their starting center, he's fine. So as long as the 49ers offensive line can remain mostly healthy, then I think they should be a pretty solid unit. And then at quarterback, you got Brock Purdy, and he's a very polarizing player because on one hand, you have people who think he's trash and that he's carried by his team when they're at full strength. But on the other hand, you have people who think he's like an elite quarterback and that he's top 10 and whatnot. And look, Brock Purdy, I'm somewhere in the middle on him. I don't think he's an elite quarterback whatsoever. But with that said, I don't think he's trash, and he is a good quarterback, and you can do so much worse than him. I know his numbers, they took a dip last season, but to be fair to him, the 49ers, like I said before, they dealt with a lot of injuries. And Brock Purdy, he's not one of those quarterbacks who's going to carry like a mediocre team or a flawed team to a lot of success, which is part of the reason why I think he's more of like a good quarterback rather than an elite quarterback, because I don't think, again, he's like a major elevator and like that. But with that said, to be fair to Brock Purdy, when your team is, again, ravaged by so many damn injuries and you're missing so many of your best players, of course your numbers and your play, they will take a dip, and it would be hard for basically anybody to succeed in that situation. Even somebody like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or any, elite quarterback, yeah, I think they would do better than Brock Purdy in that situation, and they would be able to handle it better. But with that said, even they would feel the effects of, having like all those injuries. But yeah, nonetheless, Brock Purdy, as I said before, he is a good quarterback, and I do think the 49ers can win a Super Bowl with him. It just might be a little bit more difficult compared to, winning a Super Bowl with like Josh Allen as your quarterback. And then at head coach, you got Kyle Shanahan, and he's one of the best head coaches in the NFL, maybe the best. And I know some people are going to dog on him and call him overrated for some of his Super Bowl chokes and whatnot, and they think that he's underachieved with the talent he's had, while he's, been head coach of San Francisco. And while he definitely has his flaws, he's far from an overrated or a trash head coach. Kyle Shanahan, he is one of the best offensive minds and one of the best play callers in the league, and frankly, one of the best offensive minds of all time. I know some people might think that's a little bit far-fetched and crazy to say, but I mean, Kyle Shanahan's scheme has influenced offenses all over the league, and he's great at elevating players and elevating units. I mean, not only is he incredibly, you look at the 49ers this past season, like I said before, they only went 6-11 and they weren't a great team, but I'm not gonna lie, for a 6-11 team and and a team with like a mediocre record like that, I felt like San Francisco was a pretty competitive team, and a large reason why is because of Kyle Shanahan. And the same can be said about the 49ers in 2020 when they were ravaged by injuries. They weren't that great that season, but they were pretty competitive, and a large reason why is, again, Kyle Shanahan. He's really good at elevating teams, or that are lacking in talent. So yeah, Kyle Shanahan, he's a really good head coach, and like as I was saying, and Kyle Shanahan, he's really accomplished as well. I mean, he's made it to 3 of the last 4 NFC championships, and he's made it to 2 Super Bowls. And I hate to sound like a broken record, when I'm saying if they're healthy, but honestly, if the 49ers are at full strength, they are going to have an elite offense. I don't think that really should be up for debate. Now let's move on to San Francisco's defense, and it was not very good last year. They were the 5th best passing defense, but they were bad in basically every other stat you can think of. But I think that's going to change in 2025 because coaching was a large reason why their defense fell off last season, along again with some injuries. But Robert Saleh, he's now their defensive coordinator, and he obviously served as their DC from 2017 to 2020, and he was really good in that role. And you can say whatever you want about him as a head coach, but one thing you can't deny is that he is a good defensive mind, and he made the Jets a very good defensive team in his tenure there. And I think Robert Saleh, he's going to make this defense bounce back. I mean, their front 7, they still have Nick Bosa, who's an elite edge rusher, and Fred Warner, who's the best linebacker in the NFL. Plus, they drafted Michael Williams and Alfred Collins in this year's NFL draft, and Michael Williams, he is a little bit of like a raw project player, but he has a lot of potential, and he is a really good run stopper already, so he can definitely serve as a good run stopping edge rusher to start off his career. And Alfred Collins, he's a really good nose tackle and run stopper. And San Francisco even traded for Bryce Huff, and I know Bryce Huff was like a no-show for the Eagles last season, and even though he sucks at stopping the run, he has shown that he can be a good pass rush specialist, and he was a solid player for the Jets back when Robert Saleh coached them. So I think there is a decent chance that Bryce Huff does have a bounce back season in 2025 and is a good contributor to this 49ers team. And even their secondary has some nice pieces. Renardo Green, he had a really good rookie year. Demondre Lenoir, he is one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. Jair Brown is a decent safety. And Malik Mustafa, he had a decent rookie season, and he does have some potential. And even though the 49ers defense, they do have some areas of concern, like their defensive tackles, the other linebacker spot next to Fred Warner, and even their secondary, while it's fine, it's not exactly amazing. Again, they do have those concerns, but I trust them to have a good defense because it's not like their defense is totally devoid of talent. And Robert Saleh, like I said before, he's a really good defensive coordinator, and I think he can elevate this unit and help, some of the younger players, on this defense, help them develop. And I think he is going to elevate this defense again, like I said before, into being a pretty good unit. Now, when you take a look at the 49ers schedule, of course, they play in the NFC West, and I think the 49ers are going to win 2 to 4 of their divisional games. And then they play the NFC South this year, and I think San Francisco, they're going to win like 2 to 3 of those games. And then they play the AFC South, and I think the 49ers are going to win like 3 to 4 of those games. And San Francisco's last 3 games, they come against the Giants, the Bears, and the Browns. And I think San Francisco, they're going to win 2 to 3 of those games. So again, all the 49ers need to do is stay healthy. As long as they can do that, they are going to be just fine, and they're going to win at least 9 or 10 games, and they'll most likely make the playoffs. I think they're a near lock to make the playoffs as long as they stay healthy. And at their best, San Francisco, they can be one of the best teams in the league, and I think they could win like 13 games. Some people might think I'm crazy for that, but I don't think it's that crazy to say. You know, San Francisco, I mean, let's not forget how good they were in 2023 or 2022 or even 2021. I mean, they were really good, you know, in the past few seasons when they were healthy. And I think the 49ers, they're going to be really good this upcoming year. They just got to stop overthinking San Francisco and letting an injury-riddled 2024 cloud their perception of this team. Because the 49ers, they are going to be just fine. They are going to make the playoffs. And it's possible that they are a Super Bowl contender, and it's possible that they, you know, make a deep playoff run, and it's possible that they hoist the Lombardi Trophy in February of 2026. But we'll have to see what happens with San Francisco. But either way, that's all I got to say for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Again, like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. And then check me out on social media. The links to my Twitter and Instagram are in the description below. But without further ado, I'm out, you guys.